Hello and welcome to week five. Week five, as you can probably tell, with this movie clip file open, is going to be using the movie clip file that we used last week. This exercise is meant to sort of catapult you into project one, which I'm going to talk about towards the end of this video. So without further ado, let's head into this exercise. We're hitting a lot of different kind of smaller topics, but important topics. So make sure you sort of follow along with these little kind of details that we're going to be hitting here in this project. The timeline exercise is split up into three parts. First of all, creating a background for the movie clip. Secondly, or for the movie, creating a new scene, and then using alpha and altering the path of the motion tween. Okay. So we're going to open up this document from last week, and step two, we're going to insert a new symbol. So I'm going to insert a new symbol. This is going to be a graphic, and it's going to be called background. Okay. Now you see I pop over into the library. Remember that's different than the scene. I've had a couple questions about that. Make sure you know where you are. I'm in background now. I can see that right there. It says choose the rectangle tool. My rectangle tool looks like a rectangle. And it says click the stroke color to nothing. Remember we do that right there. And we're going to choose a shade of green. Okay. Next it says click, hold, and draw a rectangle and select it using the black selection tool. So I'm going to click, hold, and draw the rectangle. Okay. I'm going to use the black selection tool. Now, there's a couple of different ways we can size this thing. One is using the free transform tool, and I click on that and you'll see the bounding box, and we can sort of pull that as you may. The other has to do with the info window, and the info window lives either right here in the little eye, or you can go to window info. Okay. Now what this states is sort of the width and height. So you'll see sort of down to the pixel how big this thing is. So you can actually just type in that 575 there and it will sort of size accordingly. Okay. Some of these windows are sort of living right here, and the info being one that contains info, but you're also able to alter. You can see the orange here is where I can sort of click and change that value. Okay. So that's, I guess, step 7. Now it says use a combination of the selection tool and the eraser tool to erase portions to create a simple horizon. So you're going to see what I'm going to do here. First, I am going to use the eraser tool, and I'm just inside the symbol. Remember, I'm still inside the background, and I'm creating a simple horizon line. So I'm going to sort of, okay. Now it says use the combination of the eraser and the black selection tool. So I'm going to click on that, and you'll see how I've separated this from this. Okay, I'm simply going to hit delete on the keyboard, and there I have, albeit, but a very simple horizon line. Okay. It says next choose the paintbrush tool as well as a paintbrush size and brown color. So I'm going to be painting at this point. Again, I want no stroke color. I'm going to be drawing a tree here. I can choose my brush shape and my brush size in the toolbox here. Okay. And it says draw a simple tree coming out of the grass. Okay, so let's imagine it's late fall and we have a simple tree. Okay. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on the sort of aesthetics of this thing, but rather just show you how to do this. Okay. Now it says choose an oval tool and draw a yellow sun. Okay, so I'm simply kind of literally setting the scene here. I'm going to hold down Shift when I draw the sun, and that's going to make it sort of stay as a full circle. Okay. Now it says click on scene 1 in the top left. This is when we pop back over to the scene. Okay. And it says insert a new layer and call it background. I'm going to insert a new layer, and I'm calling it background. All these other layers, if you remember from last week, are where we have the bird sort of coming across the stage. So again, this is the sort of expanding upon and making a more complex scene here. Next, it says pull the layer background so that it's below the other layers. Okay, this is a background, so let's make it a background. And I want to show you how to do this. So I click, hold, and pull this thing down. If you've ever worked with something like Photoshop and layers, same idea with something like the layers in the timeline. They will sort of literally be on top of each other. Whatever's on top here is on top. Okay, so you're going to see that when the birds fly over the background. Okay. Now it says make sure you are on the first frame of the background layer. Okay, you'll see that when I made a background, if we look at this timeline, it extended that layer all the way out until the last frame of the motion that we have. Excuse me. So that's a good thing. It's basically saying, hey, it looks like whatever you want to do over the entire sort of portion of this scene, and that is the case. So it says take the graphic from library called background and drop it down onto the stage. Okay, so I'm on that first frame. I'm going to take it and I'm going to drop it down on there. Okay, it says position and potentially size. I don't have to size, but it says position it and position the graphic. Okay, so I have that graphic sort of positioned towards the bottom. Okay, if I realize for instance, that I don't like where that sun is, I can actually go back to my graphic and sort of push that sun up. And when I pop back to scene one, you'll see that it sort of adjusts appropriately. That's the goodness of having something over in the library. It's going to update it if you change it. Okay. So that is the first part, creating a background for the movie. We'll head into the next part, which is creating a new scene. Now, before we do this, I want to sort of explain why we, up to this point, we've basically had scene one. If you have scene one, I hope you assume and know that you can have potentially multiple scenes. This is a good thing. If you think about this as an organizational tool, the layers, okay, I'm going to have something moving here, another bird here. You should start thinking of things in terms of scenes. If we think of a movie having scenes, you're going to cut to another scene. I wouldn't have ever like a timeline that just goes on and on and on and on and up to frame 1256. That's too much sort of going on in a particular timeline that it just becomes unwieldy. So I would sort of imagine things in 4 or 5 second bites, maybe even smaller, so that you can go through something, organize it, and then when you quote unquote cut to a new scene, you have kind of a fresh palette to work with, or a fresh sort of canvas to work with, a fresh stage. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is creating a new scene. So I'm going to choose Insert Scene, and you'll see I pop to Scene 2. Okay, this looks like my movie is blank. My movie is not blank. I have multiple scenes now, and I can find Scene 1 here, and I can pop over to Scene 2 here. Okay, note that you can move these things around. I'm going to go to Window, Scene, and we can, if for some reason you do something in the wrong order, I can move Scene 2 above Scene 1. I'm not going to necessarily need that, but note that you can sort of move things around. Okay, so we have a new scene here. It says insert a new symbol. Call it water background. Okay, sort of probably see where I'm going with this. Choose the rectangle tool, click on the stroke color, make it blue, sort of doing a different version of what we did last time. So I'm going to sort of quickly go through this. I'm going to draw a rectangle. Using the info panel, we're going to change that to 575. Whoops, did not select that. Okay, 575 being kind of slightly larger than our stage, so it's going to fill that whole thing up. Use a combination to erase portions. I'm on step 24 here, so we're just creating a simple waves or something. And then it says click on the scene 2 at left. So we're going to pop over here and insert a new layer, call it water background. Okay. And we're going to grab water background down here. Okay. And it says insert a frame on the layer, a water background at frame 160. We need to push this out a little bit because we're going to be doing something else to this. Remember, this was a blank scene. So inserting that frame is simply having, whoops, I did it on the wrong one. Simply sort of pushing this water background all the way out to the end. Go. Okay. Now, the next portion, using alpha with the movie clip, altering the path of the motion tween, is basically creating some more complex movement within your movie. I only have a couple minutes left on this screencast, so I'm going to actually stop this and upload it and finish this off with a part 2 video.